One of the biggest lies adults over 60 have been told is this: if you walk every day, your legs will stay strong. It sounds true, it feels true, and that is exactly why it is so dangerous, because every year, more than 14 million adults over 65 report a fall. And falls are now the leading cause of injury for older adults, with the death rate still rising. So if you are walking every day thinking that alone is protecting you, I need you to hear this very carefully. Walking is good for your heart. Walking is good for your mood. Walking is good for keeping you moving, but walking by itself is not a complete leg strength plan. And what I am about to show you is one bed exercise that targets a muscle walking often underloads in the exact way many older adults need most. A muscle that matters when you stand up from a chair. A muscle that matters when you take that first step to the bathroom in the dark. A muscle that matters when your foot catches the edge of a rug and your body has half a second to save itself. If that muscle is weak, you do not feel it while you are sitting. You feel it when it is too late. And here is the part most people never realize. You can walk 3,000 steps a day, 5,000 steps a day, even 8,000 steps a day, and still have thighs that are too weak to protect your knees, support your balance, or help you rise safely without using your hands. That is the trap. You stay active enough to feel responsible, but not targeted enough to stay protected. I am Dr. Ava Carter, and if your legs feel heavier, shakier, slower, or less reliable than they used to, stay with me. Because this one movement can be done flat on your bed, puts almost no stress on the joint, and for many older adults, it is the fastest way to wake up the front of the thigh muscles that walking often leaves half asleep. And yes, I said faster than walking, not because walking is useless, but because walking spreads the effort lightly over thousands of steps. This exercise concentrates effort exactly where many weak legs need it most. Before I show you how to do it, tell me down in the comments your age and the country you are watching from. I read those comments, and they help me know who these videos are helping most. Now let me explain why this matters so much. The muscle we are talking about is your quadriceps, that big muscle group on the front of your thigh. It helps straighten the knee. It helps you rise from a chair. It helps you lower yourself with control. It helps stabilize the knee when you stand, walk, or catch yourself. And when that muscle gets weak, life gets smaller. You start using your hands to push off the chair. You hesitate before stairs. You turn more carefully. You stop trusting your legs even if you never say it out loud. That loss of trust changes everything. Now here is what the National Institute on Aging makes very clear. Older adults do not just need aerobic activity like walking, they also need muscle strengthening activity and balance work. In other words, walking is part of the picture, not the whole picture. And when researchers looked at falls, muscle weakness, especially lower body weakness, showed up again and again as one of the strongest risk factors. So if you have been told, just walk more, that advice is incomplete. Because walking keeps you moving, but strength is what keeps you supported, and support is what keeps you upright. Let me give you a picture of what this looks like in real life. Not long ago, I spoke with a woman in her 70s who was proud of the fact that she walked every single morning. Rain or shine, she did not miss. She thought that meant her legs were strong, but she also needed both hands to stand up from her dining chair. She paused before stairs. She felt unsteady when she got out of bed too quickly. Her walking habit was real. Her leg weakness was also real. That is more common than people think, because endurance can hide weakness. You can keep going forward in a straight line and still be missing the strength you need to stand, stabilize, and recover. So what is the exercise? It is called the quad set, and it is so simple that many people underestimate it. That is a mistake. Because simple does not mean weak, simple means precise. A quad set is this: you lie on your back, one leg is straight, you press the back of your knee down into the bed or into a rolled towel while tightening the front of your thigh as hard as you can. You hold, then you relax. That is it. No standing, no squat, no equipment, no impact, no twisting, no getting down on the floor. And if you do it correctly, it does not feel easy. It feels focused. It feels deliberate. It feels like a muscle that has been sleeping is suddenly being asked to wake up and work. Here is why this exercise can outperform walking for weak thighs. Walking is repetitive but light. A quad set is concentrated tension. Walking asks the leg to keep you moving. A quad set asks the quadriceps to fully switch on. Walking can be tolerated even with compensation. A quad set exposes weakness immediately. If one thigh is not firing well, you know within seconds. That kind of precision is powerful. It is why versions of this movement are used in rehabilitation settings. When someone is deconditioned, recovering, weak, or dealing with knee pain, one of the first goals is often to get the quad muscle active again without irritating the joint. That is exactly where this exercise shines, and if your knees are painful, this matters even more. Because many older adults stop strengthening their legs the moment an exercise hurts. They avoid squats, they avoid stairs, they avoid lunges, they avoid anything that feels like pressure. And then the muscle gets weaker, the joint gets less supported, and daily life gets harder. This exercise interrupts that cycle. The bed supports your body, the joint barely moves, but the muscle still works. Now let me show you exactly how to do it. Lie flat on your back on a firm bed. If your bed is very soft, go on top of the covers so you sink less. Stretch one leg straight. If it feels better, put a small rolled towel under the knee so there is a slight bend. Keep your other leg relaxed. Pull the toes of the working leg gently up toward your face. Now press the back of your knee down into the bed or towel and tighten the muscle on the top of your thigh as hard as you can. If you are doing it right, you may actually see the kneecap shift slightly upward toward your hip. That is a good sign. That means the muscle is turning on. Hold that squeeze for 10 full seconds, not 3, not 5, 10. Then relax completely for 5 seconds. That is 1 repetition. Do 10 repetitions on one leg, then switch. Do the other leg. Aim for 3 sets per leg. And the best time to do it is before you even get out of bed in the morning. Why then? Because that first transition of the day tells you everything about your legs. Do they wake up strong, or do they wake up late? Most older adults know exactly what I mean. The first minute out of bed can feel like your legs belong to someone else, stiff, slow, uncertain, untrustworthy. This exercise helps change that before your feet ever touch the floor. Now, if you are still watching and this already makes sense to you, comment number 1 below. I always love seeing who stays all the way to the part that can actually change their mornings. Let us talk about what you should feel. You should feel strong tension on the front of the thigh. You may feel warmth building around the knee. You may feel that the leg starts to tremble slightly by the later reps. That is not failure. That is recruitment. That is the muscle being asked to do real work. What you should not feel is sharp pain in the knee, hip, or back. Muscle burn is one thing, sharp pain is another. Burn means effort. Sharp pain means stop. And that distinction matters. Now let us talk about the 4 biggest mistakes, because this is where people either turn this into a powerful strengthening tool or reduce it to almost nothing. Mistake number 1 is not squeezing hard enough. This is the most common one. People hear bed exercise and they assume gentle, so they press lightly, they tighten halfway, they hold without intensity, and then they say it did not do much. Of course it did not. The strength comes from the quality of the contraction. You have to mean it. When you push the back of that knee down, do it like you are trying to flatten the towel into paper. Tighten the thigh like you are trying to make the muscle jump off the bone. Intensity is not optional here. It is the exercise. Mistake number 2 is holding too short. This one ruins the payoff. People count quickly. 1, 2, 3, done. No, use real seconds, slow seconds, 10 full seconds. That longer hold is what teaches the muscle to stay on, not just flicker on and disappear. A weak muscle does not just need activation, it needs sustained activation. That is what gives it back its job. Mistake number 3 is tightening everything except the quad. Some people grip the jaw, clench the shoulders, hold the breath, tighten the toes, and forget the actual muscle we are targeting. Keep the upper body relaxed. Breathe normally. Let the effort happen in the thigh. Yes, pull the toes back slightly. Yes, press the knee down. But the star of the movement is the front of the thigh. That is where your attention should live. Mistake number 4 is rushing through both legs with no rest. The 5-second relaxation between reps matters. That pause resets the muscle so the next contraction can be strong too. If you skip the reset, every repetition gets weaker, and weak repetitions build weak results. Now here is the question people always ask. How long before I notice a difference? Some people feel the muscle wake up on day 1. Not stronger yet, just more present, more available, more responsive. That first change matters because many weak legs are not just weak, they are under-recruited. The connection between the brain and the muscle has gone quiet. This exercise turns the volume back up. In the first week, many people notice one specific change. Standing up feels a little more deliberate and a little less clumsy. By week 2, they often say the front of the thigh feels more alive during walking, stair climbing, or getting up from the toilet. By weeks 4 to 6, the more meaningful changes start showing up. Standing from a chair with less push from the hands, better control when lowering down. More confidence on the first few morning steps, less dependence on furniture for support. That is the part I care about most, not the muscle for vanity, the muscle for function, the muscle for independence, the muscle that lets you stand when no one is there to help you. And let me say something important here. This exercise is not magic because it is trendy. It is powerful because it is practical. It meets older adults where they really are, in bed, in pain, in stiffness, in hesitation, in the part of the day when motivation is low and the body feels unreliable. That is why it works for people who say things like this: "My knees hurt too much to exercise. I cannot get down on the floor. I am afraid of losing my balance. I do not have equipment. I am too weak to start." This is where you start, not later. Not after you feel better, not after you get stronger. This is how you begin getting stronger. And if you are someone who already walks every day, even better. Do not stop walking. Just stop expecting walking to do every job. Use walking for circulation, mood, and endurance. Use this for targeted leg strength. Those are not enemies, they are partners. But if you had to choose just one movement for the front of the thigh that you can do safely in bed, this is a very strong candidate. Now I want to make this even more useful, because there is a difference between doing the exercise and progressing the exercise. If 10-second holds are too hard at first, start with 5 seconds, but work toward 10 as quickly as you can with good form. If 10 repetitions are too much, start with 5. If 3 sets are too much, do 1. Consistency beats perfection every time. But once it starts to feel easier, do not just keep coasting forever. Make the squeeze stronger. Make the hold cleaner, make the knee press more deliberate, and most importantly, stop lying to yourself about whether the muscle is truly working. That honesty changes results. Now, if you are getting value from this, subscribe and turn on the bell, because I make these videos for people who want practical ways to stay strong, steady, and independent after 60 without being told to do things their bodies are not ready for. Let me also tell you who this exercise is especially helpful for. It is excellent for people who struggle getting out of chairs, for people who feel their knees wobble when they first stand, for people who are recovering after a period of inactivity, for people whose legs feel weaker after illness, for people with early or moderate knee discomfort who cannot tolerate harder strengthening moves, for people who walk often but still feel unstable, and for the person who has not fallen yet but quietly knows they are closer than they used to be. That person needs to start now, not after the first fall, because prevention always feels less urgent than recovery, until the day recovery becomes your only option. Now let us talk about one more layer that makes this exercise even better: the mind-muscle focus. I know that phrase gets overused, but here it matters. Do not just press and hope, watch the thigh. Touch the thigh if you need to. Feel it harden under your hand. Try to make the muscle contract harder on rep 3 than it did on rep 1. That active attention changes the quality of the work, and the quality of the work changes the result. Another thing people overlook is breathing. Do not hold your breath. Count out loud if you have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That does 2 things. It keeps you breathing and it keeps you honest, because silent counting is fast counting. Out loud counting is real counting. Now I want to clear up something about the title, because some people hear faster than walking and think I mean this one bed exercise replaces all movement. No, that is not what I am saying. I am saying this: if your specific problem is weak quadriceps, weak standing power, shaky first steps, difficulty rising from a chair, or poor knee support, then this one exercise can improve that specific problem more directly, more safely, and more efficiently than simply taking more steps. That is the difference. Walking gives you general movement. This gives you targeted muscle work, and when the target is right, results come faster. That is true in rehabilitation. That is true in strength work. And that is especially true in aging bodies, where recovery capacity, joint tolerance, and confidence all matter. So here is the simplest plan I can give you. Tomorrow morning, before you get out of bed, do one set of quad sets on each leg, just one, 10 reps, 10-second holds, 5-second relaxations. That alone will tell you more about your real leg strength than another promise to walk more later. Do that for 3 mornings, then go to 2 sets. By the second week, try for 3 sets. Keep it daily, keep it controlled, keep it honest. And if one leg is clearly weaker, do not ignore that. That weaker side is often the side that needs the work most. The body loves to hide asymmetry until function exposes it. That is why so many people do not realize they have a problem until one knee buckles, one stare feels wrong, or one bad step scares them more than they want to admit. So train the leg before the leg betrays you. Train the muscle before the muscle disappears. Train the pattern before the emergency. If you have had recent surgery, a clot, severe unexplained pain, or your doctor has restricted your activity, talk with your doctor or physical therapist before starting. And if this causes sharp pain, stop. That is not fear, that is wisdom. But for a huge number of older adults, this one movement is a safe, accessible, intelligent place to begin. And I love it because it removes excuses without removing dignity. You do not have to perform. You do not have to go anywhere. You do not have to be brave enough for a gym. You just have to decide that your legs are worth 10 minutes before the day begins. That decision compounds. A stronger contraction today becomes an easier stand tomorrow. An easier stand becomes more confidence next week. More confidence becomes more movement. More movement becomes more independence. And independence is the thing most people do not realize they are losing until they feel it slipping. So let me leave you with this. If your legs feel weak, do not wait for them to prove it. If walking has been your whole plan, make it a better plan. And if you only start with one thing, start here. Flat on your back, toes up, knee down, thigh tight, 10 seconds, again, and again, and again, and again, because sometimes the exercise that changes the most is not the one that looks impressive. It is the one you can actually do consistently, safely, and hard enough to matter. Now I want to hear from you. Tomorrow morning, are you trying this or not? Write yes or no in the comments. And if you do try it, come back in 7 days and tell me the truth. Do your first steps feel steadier? Does standing feel easier? Can you feel the front of your thigh working again? I would genuinely love to know. If this helped you, send it to one person whose legs have gotten weaker but who still thinks walking alone is enough. And subscribe, because your body is not done. It may just be undertrained in the places that matter most. Thanks for watching.